All right, are you ready? So you had to make sure that you're in a quiet place, you got your headphones, you got your notebook and your pen or pencil ready to take great notes, and that you're in the mindset to learn today. Here we go. Okay, so this is the first video from Unit 2. So Unit 2, Standard 1 and Video 1 is where we get those numbers from. That is Standard 1, Video 1. All right, so our first standard is to graph and identify key characteristics of linear and piecewise functions. Now, if you're not sure what linear or piecewise functions are, you're going to learn that in this chapter. So that is our standard. What we're going to be concentrating on today is the vocabulary of graphing in the coordinate plane. I'm going to give you a moment to make sure that you've got all that down on your paper so that when you need to reference your notes, you know exactly where to find it. Go ahead and pause now and unpause when you're ready. Okay, so we're going to start with some vocabulary review. Most of this should be a review, but just to make sure we're all talking the same language when we're in class. So we're going to start here. This is called the coordinate plane. And our coordinate plane is a real plane. In other words, everything on it are real numbers. We cannot put non-real numbers on this plane. It's not anything new to you because you don't even know anything about non-real numbers, but it is something we will be talking about. So we just want to clarify this year that this is the real plane, and later on we will have a non-real plane. We also want to talk about these two strange lines. Not so strange, they're just the axes. So this is our x-axis. Oh boy, I can't spell. Let's try that again. This is our x-axis and our y-axis. Okay. We know that these are our positive x's, these are our positive y's. That makes these the negative y x's, and these are the negative x values. Then we have this place straight in the middle that is neither positive nor negative. It is called the origin. And it has the ordered pair of 0, 0. Okay, so our coordinate means we have ordered pairs. So ordered is the coordinate part, but the co means that there are two, so that's why we have ordered pairs. So these ordered pairs are x comma y, and they're located in one of our four quadrants, or they're located on an axis. So let's label our quadrants. We have four of them, and the quadrants are labeled using Roman numerals. So we have a capital I over here, that is quadrant 1, and they move in the form of a C around, and then this is quadrant 3, and last we have quadrant 4. So once again, they move in this kind of this C formation, and they move around like this. So whenever you start in quadrant 1, if you just make a C, you'll know which one is quadrants 2, 3, and 4. All right, so just keep in mind, if I'm trying to plot a point and I have a positive number and then a negative number, that means that my x value moved positive and my y value moved negative, and this lands me somewhere in quadrant 4. If I move negative and then I move positive, so that means I went left and then I went up, that landed me in quadrant 2. Okay? Alrighty. Make sure you got all those notes, and we'll go ahead and move on. So sometimes we're going to need to identify some ordered pairs, and often they're going to be located in a table, but sometimes we're going to have to make our own table, and we're going to be given an equation. So let's say we were given the equation y equals 3x plus 2. If I'm given the equation y equals 3x plus 2 and I needed to find some ordered pairs, I would probably start by choosing some x values. And I would choose a negative x value, maybe a 0, and also a positive x value. And I would substitute these x values into my equation for x to find the y value. So I'm trying to find the y that matches that x. So if I were to substitute the negative 2, this would be negative 6 plus 2, so y would equal negative 4. If I substitute in the 0, I would have 3 times 0 plus 2, and that would be 2. And then I would put in the 3, for example, plus 2, that's 9, 10, 11. So my ordered pairs that I have found are negative 2, negative 4, 0, 2, and 3, 11. These are just 3 of the infinite number of ordered pairs that happen to work for this equation, because I can continue to pick different x values. So let's suppose now I had to choose, for whatever reason, I had to choose a fraction for my x value. Okay, so if I have a fraction for my x value, I might want to pick a strategic x value. So maybe I would choose 1/3, because when I multiply this 3 times the 1/3, at least I don't have another fraction. So this would leave me with 1 plus 2, and my y value would be 3. Well, not always are the equations going to be written so pleasantly. What if my equation was written like this? 2/5 x plus 4y equals 9. And I had to choose some x values for that. If that was the case, I don't necessarily, or if I had to choose some ordered pairs for that, ordered pairs, I don't necessarily have to choose x values. I could choose a y value. In this case, I'm going to choose an x to be a 0. The reason I chose x to be 0, and again, this is a strategy, would be to get rid of the x's altogether. Because if I put an x equals 0, this whole piece is gone. So I would be left with 4y equals 9. Let me show you again. If I put in a 0 for x, then I end up with this. Well, that's gone, and I have 4y equals 9. So yes, I do end up with a fraction, but it didn't get very messy in the process. So this would be 9/4. Okay, so there's one ordered pair. Let's find another. Maybe I wanted to choose a 0 for the y value, and this would work out just as well. So this time, when I substitute in the 0, I'm substituting it in for the y value, making that 4 times 0 go away, and I'm left with 2/5 times x equals 9. I would multiply by the reciprocal. You could divide by 2/5. It is the same thing. So I'd multiply by 5/2. And that would leave me with 45/2. Not something too pleasant, but it wasn't very complicated to find another ordered pair. So that would be 45/2, 0. All right, great job. If you have any questions, please post them on Schoology, and then make sure you do the entrance slip that goes with this video.